Carmina Burana is one of those pieces that I've known as long as I can remember falling in love with classical music. It's probably one of the first pieces that I came across, and I've never looked back. And the fact that as a conductor, I think this is the whole reason why I became a conductor, so I could do Carmina Burana.
Wow.
But I've come to find out that it's also a very popular piece in the ballet repertoire, and that I've come to find that it's a piece that quite a lot of ballet companies around the world utilize it. Is there any particular reason why it is so attractive from a choreography point of view?
There's a lot of dance rhythms in it. I mean, he kind of has some simple rhythms that are repeated all the time, and it just feels like dancing. And of course, there's the opening movement that everybody knows and feels so powerful. And I knew I had never danced it, but I'd seen it with several different choreographers, and and then wanted to do it, of course. And then you say yes to something, and then you have to do it, and then figure out all of the things. And I mean, it's pretty. It does sort of meander a little bit. Musically, I found that I couldn't really find a real center to it, except for that beginning and end. So that's kind of where I jumped off from.
But there's a lot of repetitive stuff as well, which I guess can be both good and bad when you're choreographing.
It's actually really good for dance.
Okay.
Right? Because you can kind of do whatever you want.
Correct.
You can just sort of like, well, there it is, and here I'm going to vary it. I'm going to comment on it in dancing. Whereas if you have a more complicated piece of music, more development in it, it makes it a little bit harder, I think, to actually make a choreography that is, or steps that are making a comment and expanding upon the piece, as opposed to just mimicking it.
Is there any danger also to the fact that the piece is so well known, and yet you're adding now a visual aspect of it? We know it by ear, but now you're putting very clear imagery and dancing on top of it. I mean, that's going to be a little bit scary at times.
It is scary, as in many pieces, if you do something that's well known, But my goal is always to feel for the audience. I mean, I guess it's me to feel as if I have expanded upon the music, as opposed to, it's all works as one thing. Maybe you hear the music a little bit differently once you see the choreography to it. I'm definitely not. I mean, I think music is my center too, right? And that's where I come from, and that's where it starts for me, in the rhythms and whatever the feelings that are happening in the music, and so that's where I try to win my way through that with steps and movement to make sure it's going to work.
I have to say that for me, not only having the ballet involved and the dancers, but of course having the video on top of that, which is yet another layer of multimedia visual to it. But from what I've seen of what Duncan has been preparing, it's actually mesmerizing.
And trying to, again, make it a whole thing as opposed to, separate parts. And, that's part of what I was thinking about this on the way over here. The images that he's come up with are not like, it's not like they're ambiguous. The images are really clear, but they actually are evocative. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would want to do with the choreography too, is make it evocative and have, any kind of art. Of course, we want someone to bring themselves to it, and then have it reflect and refract back at them themselves, right? That's what we're looking for. And I think that's what the video does too, which is really exciting.